Welcome back, Bulldogs fans. Today in this video, we're going to be recapping the Martinsburg versus Musselman game, which turned out to be a really good rivalry game. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe below. Let's hop right in. Martinsburg would start the game with the football, and Boston Todd would get involved quickly as he'd take a jet sweep down the sideline, racing in the end zone and making this game 7-0 fast. Martinsburg would take over after an empty Appleman possession, and on a third down, Brian Dick is able to take a nice run past midfield to the 42. Following that play, Kingston McDonald Gibson goes 38 yards down to the 4-yard line, which sets up Brian Dick running it in to make it 14-0 with 7 minutes left in the first. The next Appleman possession sees them driving with the help of some Bulldogs penalties, and on a third down, Nate Lazier would take the snap, slip a tackle, and go 50 yards for the Musselman score, making this game 14-7. The next Bulldog drive sees them in the red zone again after this 35-yard pass to Boston Todd sets them up at the 15-yard line, but the very next play, Brian Dick would misread the RPO and throw an interception, and Colton Shelton gives Musselman the ball back. After a tough run up the middle from the fullback Lewis and a nicely ran out route by Lazier, Musselman is inside the Bulldogs 40. Zach Miller would drop back, find Colton Shelton across the middle, and he would make a few nice moves and take it into the end zone to tie this ball game up at 14. The following kickoff, Brian Thomas would call the onside kick, and it would work as Musselman would take over near midfield with a chance to take the lead, and that's how this crazy first quarter would come to an end. With the help of some Martinsburg penalties, Musselman would be inside Martinsburg's 25-yard line, but this 4th and long failed after a great effort from Corday Bunny, and that would give Martinsburg the ball inside their own 20. A penalty set them back a little further, but Brian Dick would find Villa on a screen, and he'd pick up the first and more. A few plays later, a reverse to Boston Todd goes 35 yards to the 4-yard line, which sets up Ty Ricketts on a quarterback sneak to put the Bulldogs up 21-14. After Musselman wisely calls a fair catch on an onside attempt, they take over, and Zach Miller finds his big target Armentrout, who takes it down inside Martinsburg's red zone, but a flag calls it back, and that pretty much stalled the Appleman drive. The Bulldogs take over after the punt, and Brian Dick would find Boston Todd on a great corner route for 40 yards, which sets up a Brian Dick run for a score, making this a 28-14 game, and that's how we would go into the half. Sorry to interrupt. If you are enjoying the video, though, please hit like and subscribe below. Let's get back into it. Musselman gets the ball out of half, and after some early work from Nate Lazier, Zach Miller would roll to his right and find Colton Shelton once again, who would make a great move toward the goal line, but is stopped short, bringing up 1st and goal. That sets up the eventual Shelton touchdown run to make it 28-20 after Musselman would mishandle the snap on the point after. Picking up in the fourth quarter, Boston Todd takes a punt return down the sideline, and after a late hit gives Martinsburg even better field position, they give it right back to Todd on the jet sweep, and he takes it inside the 5, where Cofield would take a run and hurdle a defender into the end zone. Martinsburg would fumble the extra point, however, making this game 34-20. After Mason Wally intercepts a Zach Miller pass, Martinsburg takes back over, and Brian Dick would take a design run into Musselman territory, followed by another sweep from Boston Todd, who takes it all the way down to the 1, which would set up a Cofield fullback dive for his second score to make it 41-20. Musselman would turn the ball over on downs in their own territory, and Brian Dick would find Boston Todd again in the end zone, giving us the final score 48-20. I must say, this game was extremely competitive. The score does not show what the game was on the field, and I kind of hate to critique coaching, but I think if Musselman's team ran a more orthodox offense, this team could be a nightmare for anyone in the state. Thomas has those kids playing as hard as I've seen Musselman play in a long, long time. I was there for most of this game, and the atmosphere was absolutely incredible. This game was a lot closer than the 28-point differential. Players of the game on offense, it's got to be Boston Todd. I mean, this kid is far and away the best player in the state, in my opinion. He almost single-handedly scored or set up every score in this game for Martinsburg. How schools like Marshall and West Virginia in this state aren't beating his door down, I truly don't know. On defense, honestly, I was kind of let down by the defense as a whole in this game. They allowed so many big plays, but Mason Wally did get the interception, and he's obviously been great in coverage himself. He's had a quiet year, but that's mainly because teams aren't testing him. He's been really good on the outside. he got tested once in this game, and he made Miller pay. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe below. Also, check out the Martinsburg versus Morgantown preview video. That is going to be a great game. As always, stay blessed. Go Bulldogs.